Jasper Sanchez, thank you so much for joining us today at BNN to talk about the Boston Public Art Triennial coming up in May. Can you start by telling us about the origins of the Triennial and how it grew to where it is today?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Natalie. So our organization was actually founded in 2015 by our executive director, Kate Gilbert, under the name of Now and There. And we were called Now and There because our mission has always been to create temporary site-specific public art installations around the city of Boston. So now meaning temporary, there meaning site-specific. And over the years, we really discovered that our projects were getting the most attention and being the most successful when we were really fostering conversations and dialogue between artists, between community members all over the city. So we shifted this past year from Now and There to the Boston Public Art Triennial as a way to focus our efforts, to really have an impact, more engagement across the city, really this critical mass of public artworks, to invite more partnerships across institutions, other organizations, meaningful community members in our neighborhoods, all in the effort of believing that public art can spark conversation and dialogues that really help make our city more open, more equitable, and vibrant for everyone.
Absolutely. Public art is so important for representing communities, bringing communities together. And the title of this year's Triennial is The Exchange. The exhibition is running from May 22nd to October 31st of next year. Can you tell us why you chose The Exchange and why that name?
Of course. I think first and foremost, I have to give due credit to our Triennial 2025 curators. In our organization, I'm the assistant curator, but really the theme of The Exchange was conceptualized by our artistic director, Pedro Alonso, and his partner in art, curator, Tess Lukey. And they conceptualized the theme of the exchange really because our city is a city of experts in all fields, all over, and not just experts at institutions, right, Harvard, MIT, but also the person who works at the bodega down the street and knows the name of everyone, right, or the person who works in a food shelter in your community and supports people through social services. And we realized that in some of our conversations and our exploration with experts in these fields, that experts are often challenged in developing narratives that resonate with audiences outside of their specialties. And our curator, Pedro, believes firmly, and we all do, that artists are storytellers. Artists help tell these issues of our times, these complex issues, social issues in our neighborhoods and communities with the power of art. And so we thought of this idea of the exchange really as a way to bring artists and experts together through this exchange. And they're not just exchanging through each other to help create projects that speak to themes, which I'll share shortly, but also there's this exchange that happens with our audiences, with our community members. Public art is a dialogue, and an exchange can happen not just between the people making it, but the people seeing it and engaging with it.
Absolutely, and the idea of exchanging ideas, exchanging philosophies is, people can look at the same piece of art and have the same idea, even if, it's the bodega guy or professor at MIT,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
So there are 4 key themes of this exhibit, and I would love if you could explain each one briefly and then maybe give us a little bit of a tease on what they might look like?
Of course. So there are 4 pillars to this theme of the exchange that relate to this conversation of experts and the really great work that's happening in our city. The pillars are indigeneity, health and wellness, climate and biodiversity, and shared humanity. And our curators, Pedro and Tess, thought of these pillars because they don't just speak to pressing issues and conversations happening in our city, but around the nation and around the world. And there's a few artworks and artists that are responding to some of these quite specifically. One that I can share that I know our curator, Tess Lukey, is really excited for is a project by an artist named Adela Goldbard, who's from Mexico. Often her work involves pyrotechnics, and it invites people to really think about revolutionary modes of responding to our post-colonial society. And this artist is working in collaboration with members of the Aquinnah Wampanoag indigenous tribe in Massachusetts, of which Tesluki herself is from. Another artist that we're excited to work with is Patrick Martinez. Patrick Martinez is an artist from LA who often works in neon signs and painting. And Patrick is working really closely with an organization called Break Time here in Boston that provides services for houseless youth. And so he's taking neon signs that have gathered quotes from them and putting them around the downtown area to bring their voices to the forefront of speaking to their experience as houseless youth. And there's also some local artists that we're working with that are responding to these. I think thinking to the theme of shared humanity, one I'm quite excited for is Gabriel Souza. Gabriel is a Cuban-American artist from Miami who has been in Boston for quite a few years now. And Gabriel has a background as a linguist and working primarily with text. And so he's working particularly in the neighborhoods of East Boston and starting a press to help create and teach skills through printing such as risographs or screen printing and distribute those texts, often spearheaded or created in collaboration with East Boston Spanish-speaking communities and distributing them around the city.
Wow, what a diverse, yeah, I asked for a tease. Wow, there's so much that I want to talk about. Why is it important to have artists inserted into these communities, and why do you think they gravitate towards that?
Absolutely. I think it's by nature in the word public art, right? And it's our belief that successful public art, meaningful public art, involves intentional dialogues with community members. So over the past year, we actually have a whole partnerships and engagement team that has been leading community listening sessions all over the city of Boston, particularly in a few of the neighborhoods where we're bringing artworks: Roxbury, Mattapan, East Boston, Dorchester. And they have been gathering information from these listening sessions about where do you think these artworks should be. We ask them, we show them where some sites might be, and we've heard feedback saying, well, this might not be the best place for this artwork, right? And so we take that in to really guide, to make sure that first and foremost, while this is a triennial that we want people from all over to visit, it's a festival, a citywide festival for Boston and for people who live and work here. And that comes with also the term of site-specific, right? We want our artworks and our artists to respond to a really specific neighborhood or a story, because that, I feel, is more profound and meaningful to the people who live and work there, who walk by those artworks every day.
So you talked about these artists who are going to be creating these incredible works. How many artists are going to be participating, and where are they from all over the world?
Absolutely. So there's going to be 18 artists in total. 15 of those artists have been hand-selected and curated by Pedro and Tess, the curators. And 3 of those artists I'm working very closely with. They're local artists who we juried in through an open call and a program we have called the Public Art Accelerator, where we share resources and have workshops that teach local artists how to make public art at this scale. And so those are artworks are being created by artists from all over the world. We have artists from South America, from Europe, from the North America, the West Coast to the East Coast. But it's also really important to us, as I've mentioned, that there's local artists in there, that we're amplifying Boston's arts ecosystem. And so some of those local artists, as I've mentioned, are Gabriel Souza, Stephen Hamilton, who's deeply embedded in the Roxbury community and often creates images, figurative works using African craft techniques to celebrate the Black body in pre-colonial narratives and African mythology. We're working with artists like Evelyn Ridds, who's really invested in our water ecology and the relationship that humans have to water. And we're working with artists like Andy Lee, who does these really wonderful, relatable slogans, textiles that he stitches into flags and have been popping up all over the city.
Awesome. Well, we'll keep an eye out for those flags. I want to take a look at them. So what do you hope that people take away from all of these public arts that they'll be witnessing as they go throughout the city?
Of course. I think I'll speak to 2 hopes. I think there's a hope for the audience that might not be Boston, right? The art audience. And it's that our city is a city of culture. It is a diverse city, and it is a city of change makers. Often I've encountered this perception that Boston is a closed or siloed city, that often there's these bubbles in institutions and organizations that aren't always in dialogue with one another or the communities where they're located. And we want to change that perception. And I think for the people who live and work in Boston, right, not our Art World audience, something that really resonates with me that our director, Kate Gilbert, has shared is that we hope that this triennial brings people together, that they see through these installations that address issues like climate change, like indigenous sovereignty, like health and wellness, and issues of addiction and recovery, that we realize by bringing people together to talk about these works that when we collaborate, we can face the challenges of today.
Wow, incredible. Well, I'm so excited to go throughout the city in May and see all of these amazing things throughout the summer and the fall. Where can viewers learn more about the Triennial and more about the artists?
Absolutely. So you can follow us on our website at www.thetriennial.org. That's THETRIN. Let me try that again. You can follow us on our website at www.thetriennial.org. That's THETRIENNIAL.org, or on our social media handle at The Triennial. And for anyone out there who's located in one of our neighborhoods, we also have an open call right now for programs. So we'll be having neighborhood activations throughout the summer of 2025 between May and October. And if you want to propose a project to us, we would love to hear from you.